Good afternoon to you, Nzinga. We're coming to you live from Emperor's Palace. This is in Kempton Park. This is where about 250 members of SADTU, the South African Democratic Teachers Unions, have gathered here. They're going to be here for the 3 days. This is where they are meeting for their National General Council. This is a meeting that takes place in between 5 years of Congress in terms of them taking stock of what happened in the previous Congress as they also inch towards the upcoming Congress. SADTU had their last Congress in 2019, and this is where we saw resolutions taken, and some of those resolutions in Nzinga were disturbed by the prevalence of COVID-19, which also saw SADTU losing some of the members, the staff complements that were in the front lines in terms of just fighting where COVID-19 is concerned. So those are the issues that are going to be, ventilated here on the ground. You're right to say, indeed, President Cyril Ramaphosa, we're expecting for him to be touching down this afternoon to form part of this process here. Today marking day 1, we'll see day 2 as well, and day 3 where the issues that will be breaking into commissions as well, and they'll also be celebrating the 32nd anniversary of SADTU, the formation of SADTU here on the ground. As you can understand that the workers are looking to unions like your SADTU to champion their issues. This is a workers' union that has about 265,000 members countrywide. Those members are represented by those that are gathered here from the 9 provinces, those that will be also engaged in some of those topics as they work towards understanding the resolutions that they were taken in 2019, and the resolutions that are actually being implemented on the ground, and they're inching towards 2024. This is where SADTU will also be holding another Congress. The hot topic is the presence here this afternoon of the ANC as they form part of the tripartite alliance. And you can imagine, Nzinga, that workers are not happy, especially looking at what happened at the public sector bargaining council, where the government is just standing firm on that 3% wage offer, but workers like members of SADTU are calling for an above inflation, some sort of above inflation figure that would make the workers happy, looking as well at the fact that this was an agreement that was taken in 2019 already, and they're accusing government of reneging on that aspect of the wages of the workers coming through as well this Congress, when the economy of the country is really not doing well, and the workers have been the ones that have been in the receiving end of a sluggish economy and the socio-economic challenges that have affected their day-to-day. But I'm going to bring into the conversation now Nzinga, the General Secretary for SADTU, this being Mr. Mogwena Maluleke, who will just be joining us this afternoon to just let us in on really what we can expect here. We know very well that the workers are not happy with government. The workers are not happy with what has been happening at the bargaining council, and this is an opportunity really for this 3 days to just take stock of what has been happening, looking at also those resolutions that were taken in 2019. Welcome to the SABC. Just let us in on the sentiments from workers on the ground. What are they expecting to hear from this resolution, and especially looking at the fact that government will also be playing a role here as part of the tripartite alliance?
Thank you for having us. Indeed, as the National General Council, we'll be looking at a number of issues, including the issue of freedom of association, which basically encompasses the issue of collective bargaining. We are fully aware of the challenges that we're faced with in the chamber, and therefore, indeed, the workers have expressed themselves, and they'll continue to be expressing themselves today in terms of our commission to then say, how do we take the process forward around issues of wages and issues of salary increases, including the pay progression and so forth, amongst other things that will be discussed and so forth. So I can say that the SADTU has consulted its members around these particular issues in terms of the 1,000 rands, gratuity after the taxation, and the 1.5% of pay progression together with the 3%. And therefore, SADTU has a position that will be able to be presented to the council around this particular matter. And SADTU is aware of the fact that the Constitutional Court has ruled on the matter of the Resolution 1 of 2018. And therefore, what we are looking at is to how do we take the process forward in terms of this particular meeting to then say, how do we ensure that workers are protected, that the bargaining councils are also protected, and therefore austerity measures does not, destroy bargaining, as well as it does not destroy the education system, because we cannot afford to have a situation where the economy continues to be so sluggish, precisely because of the austerity measures that are being applied by our government. So indeed, workers are not happy. However, it is important that they are here to talk about the way forward.
Just to find out from you, this is a sentiment that has a lot of people just skeptical about the presence of a government here. We saw what happened at the SADTU Congress with the ANC being booed and being blocked from addressing that particular Congress. We are at a council here, and we see that they are featuring heavy in terms of their program in the afternoon. We'll be expecting President Cyril Ramaphosa of the African National Congress to also take to the podium and address. Aren't you worried that the members can actually more or less repeat what happened last week in terms of blocking the ANC from addressing them here, looking at the fact that they are not happy, like you just mentioned, that things have really not been going well for the workers?
Well, the South African Democratic Teachers Union members express themselves differently. They believe that they have got platforms where they can express their anger, and that is the chamber where they do so. But also they will express their anger in the commission, and then we come out with a declaration in terms of what is it that we are going for. So we were not expecting that the ANC will be barred. It was unfortunate at the level of COSATU that the ANC was barred, because the workers have expressed their anger, they have expressed their concern. What should have happened at that Congress was to allow the ANC to respond. When you're angry or you're not happy about many other things, you don't block the room for engagement, because only engagement is going to open possibilities for us to find solution. So here, they will tell the president that they're not happy. They will tell the president that they're not happy, but they will not bar him from addressing, because we're still in the tripartite alliance. The ANC is still the leader of the tripartite alliance.
And just finally on my end, in terms of what is coming out of the public sector wage negotiations, we saw some unions are really pointing to the downing of tools in the sector, rejecting that 3% offer from a government, saying that government has been negotiating in bad faith, and looking at the fact that the socio-economic challenges on the ground really keep continuing unabated, and the workers are the ones that are in the receiving end. Where do you stand as SADTU, especially where that 3% is concerned? Is this something that maybe you're considering? Is it a mandate from the workers that maybe this is something that you can consider coming from government, or you're standing with other unions in the public sector to say that that 3% is not enough? There need to be another process at the bargaining council where government comes back and to try to negotiate to ensure that at least that figure is something that is satisfactory to your members.
Well, I must indicate that we have received a mandate from our members after we have consulted them on the issue of 2%, 3%, and therefore explaining to our members that we have a 3% plus a 1.5% of the pay progression that they did not get basically in 2021, and therefore it has been reinstated, and therefore that will then take them to about 4.5%. And therefore we've also explained to them the gratuity that they will also be receiving, that it didn't come as a manna from heaven. We had to fight, we had to do everything we can to ensure that we improve on that. So we will then be engaging here. We'll wait for the outcome of the council as the one of the highest decision making to then say, deliberate on them and be able to say to us, are we joining the other unions that have declared a dispute, or are we going to stick with what the National Executive Committee has decided on the basis of what members have said, that we should be able to accept the 1.5 as well as the 3% and the 1,000 rand after taxation.
Mr. Mogwena Maruleka, thank you very much, sir, for your time. He's the General Secretary for SADTU, the Teachers Union here on the ground, just more or less giving us the sense of how the workers are doing here in terms of those negotiations and in terms of those deliberations that will be taken here as they take stock of the resolutions that were taken in 2019, and they try by all means to address some of those issues that are affecting the workers. But you heard him saying that as SADTU, they've taken a resolution, and the delegates here are not going to be barring the ANC president from speaking here. Theirs is just an issue of engagement, an issue of dialogue, to say the president will be taken to task about some of those issues that workers are not happy with here. But you had them there saying that more or less they're not in any way, they don't have a mandate from their workers in terms of just going on strike. You can imagine that an impact of this nature, what an impact this will have if the teachers are down tools. This is a union that has about 265,000 members countrywide. So if they're down tools, that is one recipe for disaster.